Welcome to this edition of Along the Rock, brought to you by the Radar Free Press. I'm your host, Nathan Stahr, and with me today I've got Scott Shumard with the City of Sterling, and welcome back.
Thank you, always a pleasure.
All right. So there was some interesting news that came out last week that I wanted to talk about, which came out of Springfield. Mm-hmm. So there was a passing of the Senate Bill 642 and House Bill 1437. Mm-hmm. And so can you give us a little bit of an explanation on how exactly that benefits Sterling?
Right, so they were both extensions of programs that are currently in existence. So this summer we recently were designated as a River Edge community, and that brought forth tax benefits for a good majority of the city, actually. But particularly what our goal was first the old Lawrence facility and the old National facility, so that when those are ready for redevelopment, there's some significant tax benefits available to people who come in and redevelop, and it mainly circles around his historic tax credits. So if the money you're investing in there turn into tax credits for the investors who invest in that property and in the development of it. And when you compound the state one and the national one, you get about a 45% tax credit on your investment. So that's a huge thing for redeveloping those properties.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
And that's the biggest benefit. There's some other benefits with it too, but that's the real meat and potatoes of it. The only bad part was they only extended it for 2 years. And I think everybody knows when you drive across the bridge, the conditions of the buildings. National's a little bit further along, but we're trying to focus on Lawrence right now with the redevelopment of that project. We try to do some publications on what we'd like to do there. And I think a lot of people have seen the proposal for a boutique hotel in the 5-story section with a conference center adjacent to it. And then hopefully the prospect would be the 1-story section would be covered parking, which would be really nice for people who are either visiting through the hotel or in the 3-story section on the end, we'd like to turn that into residential. So that's a big thing there. We were awarded $500,000 in EPA funds to start the lead and asbestos cleanup in there. We're on hold as long as the federal government's on hold, but we do have bids in. We're trying to get at least the asbestos started as soon as we've got permission to go from the US EPA, but they are our lead contact on that grant is furloughed currently. We've tried to contact and not gotten anywhere. So we're on hold with that, but it'll be huge for us. And the 2-year extension coincides with some other things. So hopefully if these recoveries are Riverfront or River Edge community credits, if there's enough demonstrated progress in how beneficial they are to communities like ourselves, Elgin, Peoria, Rockford, the Quad Cities now, if we can get some real momentum going behind that, hopefully the state legislature will continue those forward beyond the next 2 years. But that's the big part of that one. The other bill pertained to our Rock River TIF, and that was originally established, I believe, in 2003, and that was meant to help bring Sterling Steel to fruition because after Northwestern Steel and Wire's collapse, they were a supplier to a company out of Missouri, and they bought the mill so they could create their own steel here. And they didn't have to go out and shop the market. They just kind of vertically integrated the coil manufacturing in. So they were getting reimbursements for all the investments that were made back there. We used a lot of TIF funds to do the cleanup on the portions of Northwestern Steel and Wire where the Riverfront Park's now going. But we lent from our city's general fund a lot of money towards the Riverfront to cover some of the environmental cleanup costs and acquisition costs and everything else that's gone on down there. So the TIF fund owes the city money. So by extending that, we get a little more time to get ourselves paid back fully. And then it also comes with some other benefits because if you're within a TIF, we can do a utility tax exemption. And it's not full, but it's a significant amount for Sterling Steel because they're still, as I understand it, ComEd's largest user because the electric arc furnace is used to melt the scrap. Right. So that's a big thing for them. But at the same time, it gives us an extra 12 years of TIF. And essentially, anybody who's investing in their properties and increasing their property value, they're obviously paying more taxes. In TIF, the I is for increment. And so the more you're paying, that increment can go back to offset your costs for developing. So we usually sign an agreement, we always sign an agreement beforehand and says, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, Z to this facility. We anticipate this will be the new assessed value. These will be the taxes we generate. And those new taxes, they can have some assurance that they'll recapture that going forward. So it kind of incents them to go ahead and go forward with projects. So we've identified a few, the old, whether you know it as the old Wayne Dalton or the old Franz building at 301 West 3rd, they're looking, they've got we've got some stuff queued up there that was dependent upon this extension. So that was good for us. And then recently we acquired the Megley Oil building down Wall Street. And we were offered it years ago. And we have enough on our plate as far as environmental concerns. I kind of want thanks, but no thanks. But now with the grant for Lawrence, national getting close to being done environmentally, the Northwestern site being done environmentally, made a little room on the plate to take on another project. And, it went through a couple of other hands in the meantime while we were waiting. And I kind of figured it wasn't going to go anywhere because we'd seen the initial reports and it wasn't good. When you hear oil, they had above ground. I think there may have been underground storage tanks there too. But as that stuff leaks in the ground, it's all going to be cleaned up. And so we'll start digging back into that probably next year and trying to find ways to address that. And that TIF, the money that comes out of there, probably go a long way towards helping us get the Megley building cleaned up. So there's hope for us. So it was a really good thing. And then there's anybody else who does a project in that area that just provides that 12 years of that incremental taxes that can come back to you to offset your improvements.
Oh yeah, well that's
huge.
Yeah, that's nice. So hopefully we'll be able to get things going in that 2 years before the first
the
bill.
River Edge. Yeah, I mean,
first
knock
bill
on
goes out.
wood. We're really Gorman and Company. I can't say enough great things about them. That's who we've partnered with to be the developer of the site, and they are really keyed in and tuned into anything that's available out there. They've got the contacts in the hotel industry, including things like that, and we're just hoping to get the federal government open so we can get rolling on the asbestos part. And then we were looking at trying to get some revolving loan funds from the IEPA to finish up the lead abatement, and then hopefully start doing some of the broken windows. I know nobody likes to see those, and it's a pain in the rear, but the window frames and everything else has asbestos in them. So you've got to be careful about what we do and what we don't do and what gets removed and doesn't get removed. And when the time's right, we'll finally get it there. I know it's a long wait and people are frustrated, and it's frustrating on our end too. Don't get me wrong. It's just unfortunately a process, and a very costly one at that.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how much asbestos was used in the materials of just making all kinds of things.
Oh, right, absolutely.
Everywhere. I mean, it wasn't just for insulation, but I know tiles, windows, even rubber gaskets, and and stuff like that.
Oh, when we redid the Coliseum, that was even the window sealants. Then the window sealants contained asbestos. It's amazing what all went in.
Oh yeah. So everything has got to be checked out.
So that was a good thing. The bad part is, of course, trying to get a bill through. I was kind of joking about that cartoon we all saw as kids growing up. It's just a bill and whatever else, but it's amazing some of the hoops, and it was frustrating. But we had to hire a lobbyist to help make us make sure this stuff gets through. But it paid off, which is a good thing. So
Well, I was looking up the kind of following up on where these bills started, and they were presented at the beginning of this year, and all the different phases that it had to go through.
Things get added to it and everything else. So it was very important for this veto session because the TIF was going to expire in January. So if it didn't get passed in October, we're going to be kind of out of luck on that one, and that would have been not a great thing for us.
Definitely moving at the speed of government.
Yes.
Not always the quickest.
No, and it's not clean either, to say the least.
Yeah. And so then the other thing they got announcement for Sterling this last week was the opening up of Light Street.
Yes, finally.
So can you kind of give us a little bit of rundown for those that don't know already, what the importance is of having that done for the downtown area?
Light Street, so between First Avenue and Locust, and between 3rd Street and 4th Street, was kind of when I first got here, it was an alley. It was discovered it was platted as Light Street at one time, so we wanted to take advantage of that. And we've done some things. We, with our partners at Sterling Today, put up the arch that says Light Street across there. Tried to brighten it up a little bit with ornamental deck lights, and then our public works guys went out and hung up the string lights through there because Light Street. So it's kind of a cool, trying to give it a little vibe. And then we've had some storefronts open up facing Light Street, which is good. But the road didn't have any drainage, and whether or not there were some businesses saying there was water in the basement. We don't know if it was from the road, or the street, whatever it was, the current pavement. So we wanted to get that done and get the drainage improved there. And at the same time, there was the old Standard building, which I think was the original home of the Gazette, or at least one of the newspapers locally. And that got torn down 10, 15 years ago. And it sat there as a gravel lot since. and we wanted to get more parking in there for that area. So we wanted to get that paved and change the circulation, and then I'm sure people have seen dumpsters are deposited all over, which was, we're trying to improve the place, make it look nice, and you got these unsightly dumpsters sitting everywhere, so we've added a dumpster enclosure. Might have to add another one, but just trying to get the stuff kind of out of sight and kind of trying to really make the place look a little bit more inviting at night, and a place people feel kind of welcome and safe to go through. Yeah. So we did that, and then in the meantime, as they're digging through, they start finding other things, and this is why I never make promises on dates, and whenever anybody pushes to have a date for an opening of anything, I always push back because inevitably.
Oh yeah, something's always going to go wrong.
Because you don't know what's underground, especially in something that was, when those sewers were originally built, turn of the century, and we're already in 2025, so we're a quarter century through this one. So turn of the century, in the 1900s, a lot of the mapping things that were put in just didn't carry over, didn't get platted or easements for it or anything like that. So we don't necessarily know where things are until you start digging. And we found some sewers down there that were not great shape, so we had to put the project on hold, go out and then you start ordering manholes, you start ordering the pipe, and it's just delays with that, and it's not just not sitting there to be had tomorrow, especially when you got to cast the manholes. They got to be the right size and everything. Whatever, where the holes go for the pipes coming in, it's just not something you buy off the shelf. So then there was a whole process with that, and then I added 2 or 3 weeks to that whole thing. And I know it's frustrating for the business owners, but it's kind of hard to avoid those things that you just don't know, unfortunately. But it's open, striped. We've got additional parking spots there now. And again, hopefully clean the whole thing up a lot, and I'm sure it'll be a nice benefit for the downtown.
Oh yeah, it looks nice.
The better.
They've done a great job getting that together.
Yeah. So. And we've got 2nd Street. I'm always hesitant, again, the dates, but I would just say it's looking increasingly likely that hopefully they'll get paid before Thanksgiving and reopened up. There'll still be some work they have to come back next year and do for concrete. There's some patches in the concrete where the poles haven't been moved yet by ComEd, so we're waiting on that still, but they're minor enough that I don't think they're going to do too much tearing up of the new road surface, which was what we were always concerned about. But they've made really good progress the last couple of weeks, and fortunately it's been relatively dry around here, and short of a few days, it's been warm enough to pour concrete, so that everything's been moving along really well. So I'm optimistic. No promises.
Yeah. so the hope is at least if with any luck, you'll have it open at least through the winter.
Yes, for sure. One way or the other, it'll be open through the winter. It's just will the final surface be on there, and that just creates issues. Whether people pulling up next to the curb and tearing up the flagging because it's about 2 inches higher than the current surface on there is, and come winter, which is all too rapidly approaching, based on some models of forecast for this weekend even. Plowing goes, when we start to go plowing, you won't the plows tearing up those curb edges either until they're even with the surface. But we're knocking on some wood here, but I'm liking where the direction is heading.
Yeah.
And then this winter too, we'll be working on the final part of that is not only the road, but the pedestrian path is what's a lot of the concrete work is being done for that 10-foot path that's going to connect from the Dillon home all the way to downtown. And when it gets to 2nd Avenue, it's going to go ahead towards the railroad tracks, and they're going to be working on the bridge abutments. Probably that'll be ending up in the spring just because of weather. But then eventually there will be a pedestrian bridge over Locust Street, and so you can get to the national parking lot there, and then hopefully either down 2nd Street or underneath the railroad, and you'll be able to get to the park. So hopefully we get a connection all the way from the Riverfront Park out to the Dillon home, and from the Dillon home, of course, you can head up with the feeder canal and head over this direction to Rock Falls, or continue east, and the path has now been built out all the way through Sinisippi Park, and then you can go past Woodlawn School, and you can, all the way back to the backside of Walmart now. So it's if we can make that connection, that'll be awesome.
It'll be a long walk. But you'll see people jog in and ride bikes
for sure.
all
And
the time.
So that'll be a real awesome addition for the community too. And we've really, I won't say a lot, but we've been pushing towards and more connections with our pedestrian multi-use paths, and a lot of that's been some from the schools and the Safe Routes program, some from the Park District, and a little bit of us. And between the three of us, we've made some pretty good progress. But there's still some connections out there, and we're in the planning stages now of how do we get from Locust and Lynn to the east, and we're working on some plans there. So hopefully in the next few years we'll be able to go all the way out from Westwood. And, you can go from Westwood all the way out to the Kroger CVS area, and looking to go and expand from there too.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. So is there anything else that you wanted to kind of inform everybody on, or if we kind of hit everything?
Kind of that multi-use path thing is, we just were awarded in the last couple of months here $4.92 million by IDOT to reconstruct West Lefevre, and then I go from Avenue L to Avenue C. And again, that also includes a 10-foot path there. So we're hoping to connect with what IDOT built along Locust Street. They've got that pedestrian path there. They'll take a little jog in there around Kilgore Park and down 16th Street to make the connection because of right-of-way issues at the intersection of Locust and Lefevre. But hopefully make that connection, and then if we get the connection going for already down Lynn Boulevard and down Locust Street, and then back to Lefevre, and being able to connect the schools, the hospital, and just get all those major points of interest, connected by bikes and pedestrians, that'd be awesome for us. But because it's an IDOT thing, the plans are engineered. We're at 90%, which is more of an engineering term with the 90%, but we're more or less ready to go in the spring.
Yeah.
But
yeah, again,
now the plans go to IDOT for review. Yeah. So if it was local funding, we'd just go out and build it ourselves, and then they'd be ready to go. But because it's IDOT funding, they get to review the plans because it is their money. Fair enough. But it just adds time because they're going to go through, and if there's anything that they see that they don't like, or something that meets their specs that's above and beyond our specs, we'll have to make some tweaks and go back and forth. And exactly. And so that's what we did with Second Street, because Second Street, that money was, I think we were awarded that in 2021 and it got built in 2025. So 4 years. I don't think it'll take this long because there's no federal money involved, but we'll still have a process to go through. So I don't foresee 26 being the year, but hopefully 27 we'll have West Lefevre done. And then, of course, East Lefevre is not holding up that great right now, so that'll be the next big project. But we've also, we got another huge project coming up next year for sure, about 90% sure on this one. We've got all the plans done for Woodburn and Griswold to be done, and it would be Woodburn, I think, from 11th North to Lefevre, and Griswold, the length of it. And those, we've been applying for money year after year from the feds through what's called the RAISE grant, and several years in a row we were called a project of merit, which meant we had made it through several stages and just missed the final cut. So we had crossed our fingers, because anytime you can spend somebody else's money over ours, great. Because if we'd been able to do that project with federal money, then our local funds could go towards another road project, and that's what we're holding out for. But the amount of money in that grant has been cut significantly, like 80%, so that we're not real optimistic about getting it next year. So now it's just, okay, we're gonna have to bite the bullet, use our local funds, and then we've got enough built up there to get both those done. Again, huge project, as long as Second Street, if not a little bit more pavement actually. So it'll probably be a 2-year project. And so we've asked the engineers now to what's the logical break to cause the least inconvenience to the residents of that area, so they can still get home and without
getting everybody upset at you. Oh yeah. So then also, I guess we also want to do another reminder to everybody. We had talked to Sauk Valley Chamber and Main Street about Sights and Sounds. Sights and Sounds,
it's
coming up. So.
I'm not one to talk about Christmas before Thanksgiving. It's just absolutely not in my DNA. But just based on our schedules here, and then just the timing of it it's December 5th. It will be the Sights and Sounds in downtown Sterling. And a couple of years ago, we had some city employees led by our city clerk, who's been terrific about putting together some community events for us. But our employees do like a little Santa's workshop, and they've kind of moved it around to any available building. It was the old medicine shop one year. Last year, M5 was courteous enough to let us use their space while they were building out. And this year, we're going to be at 7 East 3rd Street, which was the old Primitive Frills, right next to Champs. But they'll be doing a little Santa's workshop free for everybody to stop in while they're wandering around downtown. And then traditionally, I've had a couple aldermen and the mayor help me hand out hot cider in front of the Sterling Theater, so stop by and get your free drink from us and wander around, enjoy the night, and hopefully, cross your fingers, great weather.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be too cold.
There's been some years.
Oh yeah, definitely. And this year sounds like it might be a doozy.
Who knows?
Hopefully it'll be a little later than sooner.
Well, again, crossing fingers on that one.
Oh, yeah. Well, Scott, thanks again for coming up to talk to us, and we'll be looking forward to talking to you
Always
next
love
time.
the opportunity.
All right.
Thank you much.
Thank you. And we also want to thank our production crew and our viewers. Don't forget that the Radar Free Press is free, so we do rely on your likes, shares, and comments in order to keep us thriving. And if you want to see more videos like this, check out the radar.online.